So I'm primarily an astrophysicist, but more focused on solar physics. So of course, astronomy is our field of area to verify different astrophysical concepts. And for me, the sun is the astronomical object which I use for my research. Okay, so as I mentioned, primarily I was trained in physics during my BSc and MSc days, and then I went for PhD in astrophysics, and I chose sun as again my object to perform astrophysical, some theoretical concepts as well. So during my PhD period, I primarily worked on wave studies on the solar atmosphere. More of a theoretical standpoint. Then during the postdoc period, I had an opportunity to start working with some observational data, and namely this is the Soho Observatory that was launched around 95, and I started my postdoc around 97. So since then I have been looking at more observational data, and I continue doing some theoretical work. So in modern day astronomy, it is important to combine theory with observation. So that's sort of my style of functioning. I actually got into astrophysics somewhat accidentally, I will say, because I never had any really proper astronomy training in my early academic career. I went for my PhD interview in Institute of Science, Bangalore, and it is a fact actually, and I have no hesitation in saying that I was not selected in the physics interview, but I was selected in the astrophysics interview. That also, through Indian Institute of Astrophysics, they were looking for astrophysics graduate students at that point of time. So when I was offered, I didn't have a clue actually what area I should work on in astrophysics. So thankfully, at Indian Institute of Science and at Bangalore, in fact, we have a joint astronomy program where students coming from Indian Institute of Astrophysics, Raman Research Institute, or IISER, or IISER. At that time, it was even TIFR, which was part of that joint astronomy program, to go through a coursework, a rigorous coursework, and then you choose your area of research for your PhD. So when I was doing my courses, of course, often the instructors, they do influence in sense of their motivating lectures and the subject areas and so on. And because of my more theoretical physics background, I felt more comfortable with the more classical physics, and solar physics was in such area where I felt that some of my theoretical physics understanding, including condensed matter, which I was and a special paper during my master's. So I felt more comfortable in solar physics. It's a combination of instructors and the subject area which motivated me to choose solar physics as my preferred choice. So of course, as I pointed out, that during my first year of PhD, which is the coursework period, Professor Banerjee was teaching us one course. He did make a big influence on me. Also, Professor Siraj Hassan, because I was in Indian Institute of Astrophysics, so he was also working in the same field. So it really made my decision somewhat easier to choose the magnetohydrodynamics as a tool for doing solar physics. So I must point out it's a combination of these, and Professor Hassan was very dynamic, he was a very charismatic person. So it's altogether you have to be impressed by by your own teachers to make that selection. So I would say those are the factors. Yeah, as you said, for a long career, it is important to always find out something new. Otherwise, it becomes very boring. Like, if you continue doing your thing which you have done your PhD, I don't think you can make huge progress. Sometimes it does depend on the field and the problem which you deal with. But I mean, after my PhD, actually, I have not really worked much on that area at all. And I have been always moving into new research areas. But that has been possible primarily because I always got good students. So this is, for a young faculty, it is so much important to get, good, innovative students as well. Because we all have our own limitations and get, a bit saturated with our new learning skills and so on. So if you get good students, then you can think about some problem, but which you don't dare to take up. But if you identify a good student, you think, oh, this is the opportunity. Let me, dive into this field. So thankfully, I have got almost 20 odd PhD students by now. So I could almost get into at least 20 different research problems. So that, I think, is one definite reason. The other thing is, the field solar physics has also evolved observationally in a big way. Because in 90s only, as I just mentioned about the SOHO mission, that had 13 different payloads and with a completely new view of the sun in multi-wavelength, it really opened up a sort of completely new branch. Because solar physics traditionally was doing mostly from the ground-based, and then of course we did have a small satellite program. We had also Ulysses, which is looking at the heliophysics. But SOHO really made a big leap jump, and I was fortunate enough to be part of the SOHO mission from its early phase, and I was in Europe for 7 years, so that also allowed me to initiate many new collaborations and move on to the field. I must point out, after I came back India, 2004, joined as a young faculty, observational facility was not there much in India at all. But again, because of the open data policy of the European Space Agency and NASA and JAXA, we could continue, looking at those data and work, comfortably even while sitting in India. But then we also realized that how important it is that to have your own, own observational facility. So I have tried to, devote also time to initiate, our national projects. So that was the time. In fact, Aditya was conceptualized as early as 2005. So 2006 we had the first meeting in academy, and then ISRO accepted the Aditya, not in this form. It was actually accepted as a small satellite mission. 2009 we were building just a coronagraph with the imaging capability, but then subsequently around 2013 it became a much bigger project. So I've been part of Aditya's journey for a very long period of time. I've been also part of National Large Solar Telescope project, which we hope will now be formally funded very soon, because we have been looking for this project almost a decade now. So, these projects are expensive and it takes a time to build a community, to convince the ministry to get the funding and so on. So National Large Solar Telescope, this is a ground-based 2-meter class telescope. So this also, I hope, will be a very good complement to our space program. The other program I must point out is also again very crucial, which has I have been very happy to do that, is the digitization project of the Kodaikanal. These are old data, but often it's a gold mine. So you have to digitize this old data and then make it available to the global community. And I'm happy that I could contribute in some way to be responsible for digitizing those data and eventually making it available to the global community. So I'm happy with this, 3 major, I think, projects. Well, it has been so many. It is probably not very easy to identify one such event. But yeah, let me point out that during this entire journey, the main emphasis is you have to enjoy your life. Huh? So you have to enjoy your life means you participate in research, but also try to do other social and associated activities. Being a solar physicist, I have been always fortunate to participate in solar eclipse experiments. So, I mean, I have actually chased solar eclipses. So you will find in community people will say this guy is an eclipse chaser. That means, because the solar totality is seen in different parts of the globe. It's not that from India every year you will see that totality. So that means, to follow the shadow, you have to go to a different part of the globe. So I have been really fortunate to be able to do eclipse experiments from different parts of the globe, whether it's India, whether it's China. I've been to Chile, I've been to Argentina. There was an experiment way back in '95 from our own AN-32 aircraft. So these are Russian transport aircraft, and I was lucky enough to be chosen some civilians who will be traveling with those aircraft to chase the eclipse path and then take pictures. So we have a training, from Agra before the total eclipse day. It was a fantastic experience, and then the pilots were very excited when the totality happens and all that. So as it happened on that particular day in the morning hours and all that, I was of course in the flight. The Doordarshan team was there also in the aircraft. The pilot suddenly, once they put it in the autopilot, and then they invited me. Why don't you come and sit here and take it forward? I said, what do you mean? And I said, no, it's autopilot. You don't have to hold anything. You hold your camera. I will open the the window in the side. You can just put your camera out. It's 10,000 feet high, strong winds. We were all wearing masks and so on almost. So that was the experience. It was a fantastic experience. I could take the pictures and all that. What it happened was, the Doordarshan covered that particular entire episode, and they showed it in the TV, news channel in the evening. And those days, of course, there were no communication. I couldn't tell my parents what all happened. So I was waiting for, past 10 o'clock, because beyond 10 o'clock, you had this, you have a reduced rate of STD call. So we could only make telephone calls from particular booth. They're called STD booths. You won't find it, these days. And I called my mom, and I said, Mama, this is a lifetime experience. I could never, think that I will have any opportunity to experience something like that. And I was sitting in the pilot seat and all that. So then Mama told, what happened when the news was shown. I could see, you were sitting there, and there were a lot of people in my house, and I shouted that, that's my son sitting in the pilot seat, and everybody scolded me. I mean, you see your son everywhere. Damn, you don't see that that's a pilot. So then I told him, Mama, you have seen me rightly, because I was sitting in that particular position. So, since you mentioned one, a happy moment, at the same time memorable moment, I could really identify this to be a lifetime experience. Yeah, they will be there, in life, in every, every phase of your life, there will be, of course, ups and downs. We work on the sun, sun has an 11-year solar cycle. There are sometimes solar maxima, sometimes solar minima. So in your life also, you will have, a lot of period where everything is very comfortable. There will be period where there will be struggle in your academic career also. Sometimes you may have to wait for your opportunities for even a position, or even when you're a student to get a PhD in some places. You have to take it to their stride, I think. So I think it's very important to think positive, stay positive, and just assume that this is part of life, you know. This is very, very important, because it is true that in an academic life particularly, there are a lot of stressful periods. People think that, you know, it is probably the easiest career to choose, but contrary to that belief, it is actually very challenging. And you will have moments where you will find your results and you will be very happy, and there will be moments where you don't have any results and you get frustrated. So how you sort of recover from that phase, or don't give that much of importance to that phase, is going to be crucial in your success. Yeah, I think it's a very important question, and important question. First, you should probably know whether research is the best option what you have. So every individual has its his or her, you know, wish list, and you can get pleasure of in your life by doing whatever you like most. So I think it is very important to identify first what you really like most. So because at the end of the day, as I said, research career will have a struggle, will have enjoyment, a lot of enjoyment, which is very different from any other probably profession. But at the same time, it has its own challenge. To cope up with all these things, you have to be really always very much motivated and feel excited about it. If once you feel excited about it, even if you have a poor football team, you go and play. You don't always worry about losing the match because you love playing. So in this fashion, I think in the career building also, you have to be sure that you love research and you can take enjoyment from it. And then you need to probably choose also which is the field which is really exciting you most. There are many things which is you get exposed to while you are doing your undergraduate or postgraduate program. In our time, actually, we were a bit more fixed with our subject areas very early. Like, I have chosen physics honors after 12, that's it. I don't have any choice or lateral movement later on. But things have changed now. I mean, thanks to the IISER kind of system, or even the NEP, which is the National Education Policy, which is giving you option of, even choosing at a much later stage. So that means, you have to be exposed to different subject areas and then think about your thing. It is true that, for research, field is one thing, your environment is one thing, your neighborhood is also important, your supervisor is also important. So there are many different elements I think one needs to judge and really ensure that that all of these parameters is really making you excited. So you have to feel excited about your research. It is also true that that every research what you conduct is not going to give you Nobel Prize, or not going to give you a result which is always publishable in the Nature or a science journal. But every result or not a result is also a result. So you have to appreciate the effort which goes into getting something new. So even if what you were expecting, you did not get it at the end of the day, if you are able to rationally explain, then that's also a new result. So you have to be, a bit more sort of flexible in your mind as well, how you handle your research output in that fashion as well. It's good to be, thinking about always very high profile and things like, but you have to be really realistic. You should also have a reasonable assessment about what really you can achieve. And if you have a rational approach, if you know where you stand, whatever you actually will eventually get will always, you will feel, oh, I have got more than what I have probably deserved. I mean, I always feel it that way, that I was a simple guy, I was happy for playing football most of the time, but I got this opportunity and I enjoyed it, so that enjoyment and keeping things positive, not to really think about the consequences too much. will probably a better approach. It has been a pleasure for me. Thank you. Thank you. All the best.